when am I ever going to use this maths in real life? When am I going to have to use trigonometry? When am I going to have to solve a simultaneous equation in my day-to-day life? Surely I can get through my whole life without using those things. Yes, you absolutely can. I would be lying if I said you couldn't. I still think they're useful. I still think you should learn them, and they're very valuable things. But yeah, I take your point. You can definitely get through your life without using those things. But there are some things that are useful that we do in maths in your day-to-day life. Obviously, there's the sort of basic numeracy stuff, adding, multiplying, all that kind of thing. But there's also, I think, statistics. Okay, that comes up a lot in real life, and you see it in politicians use it, you see it in newspapers, you see it on the news, you see it when people are trying to sell you things. So I think an understanding of what's going on with that is really, really useful. So I saw a tweet this week, or last week actually, by a senior Conservative politician called Dominic Raab, and it really made me think, well, hang on a minute, there's a lot to unpack in this tweet, and I'm not sure what he's saying is actually true, so I thought it would be a good focus for a discussion on this. This is the tweet that he sent. ONS data showing real wages rising at fastest rate in 10 years is good news for working Britain. So first of all, what is ONS? Well, ONS stands for the Office of National Statistics, and that is a government department, but it's not overseen by any politician, so it's not, in theory, it's not influenced by any particular political party. So it's an independent, trustworthy organisation. Okay, so that's the ONS. And then real wages. Well, what does real wages mean? Let me illustrate this with an example. Let's say that you earned the exact same amount for 5 years. Probably what's going to happen is during that 5-year period, the price of things is going to gradually increase. That's called inflation. Okay, the rate at which the price of things is increasing. So your rent might go up, the price of food might go up, the cost of running your car might go up, all those sorts of things. Okay, but you're earning the same amount of money, so you've got less spending money left over each month. Okay, so in real terms, your wages have actually decreased. Although you're earning the same, the money doesn't go as far because the price of everything has gone up. Okay, so your real wages have dropped. So that's the ONS, that's real wages. And then the other thing is they talk about average wages. Okay. Now, in day-to-day life, if we're talking about average, we probably mean, well, again, let's use an example, shall we? So let's say you've got 3 people. One of them earns £5,000 a year, one of them earns £15,000 a year, and one of them earns £100,000 a year. If we were talking about their average salary, what we would do is we would add those 3 up, which would be 120,000, and we would divide it by 3 because there are 3 people that we're talking about. So that would give us 40,000. So the average salary for those 3 people, we would say, is 40,000. In maths, we talk about different types of averages. We call that the mean average, but we also have another one called the median, which is actually what the ONS use when they're talking about average wages. And the median is when you put everyone's wages or salary in order and you choose that middle one. So whatever that middle person is earning, that's what the average is when we're dealing with the median, and that's what the ONS use for this. Now, so with all of that in mind, right, we've got all of that, we've got the background knowledge. So is Dominic Raab's tweet accurate? Well, you can see on the graph, if real wages were increasing quickly, that means they would go up, but in a short period of time, and time is on our horizontal axis down there. Okay, so you'd see a steep line going up. And if you look at, now, the current period, that's not really what we're seeing at all. We're seeing quite a flat line, a reasonably flat line. It is going up, but it's going up pretty slowly. Okay, so I'd say no, that is 100% not what it's showing. It's not showing that real wages are growing at a very fast rate. Certainly not the fastest since 2011. I think it's really surprising that he chose to share this graph because it shows all sorts of, not very good things, I would argue. So if you look at those real term wages, they are now up up to where they were in 2011. They're not increasing at a fast rate, but they are back up to that same point that they were in 2011. But that was 7 years ago. So we're only just back to people earning what they were 7 years ago. More than that, it shows that those wages are still a lot lower than they were in 2008. So we're still a long way off from people getting back to earning, on average, what they were earning in 2008, 10 years ago. So I think I would be keeping pretty quiet if that was me. I wouldn't be proud of that. I certainly wouldn't be boasting about it in a tweet. So it's hard to know whether he was quite what he was trying to do there, whether he just misread it, misunderstood it, was trying to mislead us. Who knows? But just to sort of show that I think having a good grasp of the basics of statistics and all those kinds of things can be really helpful in deciding whether we trust those sorts of news sources or whether we trust politicians, companies, when they're selling us things. That is it for this week's Maths Monday. I will see you next week.